Hello, everyone, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, which means that we're playing Vaesen, Mythic Britain and Ireland, from our probably favourite people, Fria Ligan. This is our second episode of our fourth arc. It's the longest thing that I've ever run on the channel now. We're all having lots of fun. We hope you are too. Before we get going, let's talk about things. So below the video are links to our YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our social media platforms, our Discord, which you should join and come and chat with us and the other people who are involved in the channel, because it's a nice place to be, and our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do, you can support us through that and get things in return. So things that we do on the channel, Monday night we do this. Wednesday nights, although not this week or next week, is Simba Room, which is our longest running thing on the channel. This Thursday and next Thursday and last Thursday is The Big Wet, which is like a a rain-based RPG about a flooded world. Limited series of we think 3 episodes, maybe 4, and then once that's finished, the final arc of Matt's Cincinnati Chronicles, which is World of Darkness system-spanning game, will be back. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, but not Wednesday for the next 2 weeks. If in doubt, come to our Discord. There's an events tab. Everything's on there. It all makes sense. And we also do 1 or 2 one-shots a month on a weekend day, which different people run, different people play. The next one that's confirmed is the 26th of August, which is going to be Hell Night, which we were going to run this month, but sadly couldn't. So that's going to be 26th of August, and that's all of the things. So let's bring on Steve, who plays Henry Bonneville, to give us a recap of the story so far. Please, Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Johnny.
Can I say Steve some more times, maybe?
Sure, if you want.
Steve?
Right.
Thanks, Steve.
So, previously on Vaesen. So we're a group of 5 individuals who all have the sight after past traumas have allowed us to see these mythical creatures called Vaesen. We happened to be in London. We were recruited by this Apollonian society based in Rose House in London. And we've so far managed to defeat a murderous redcap, mollify some overly playful pixies, assist a certain Gladys Pugh with a matter of a troublesome spiritus, and exterminate a dangerous sea serpent, although this was at the cost of the life of Captain Geoffrey Wilkins, long may he be remembered by us, so we don't forget his name, and almost cost Henry his life too. So yes, there's been, over these sort of missions, these mysteries, there's been a bit of rising tension in the group regarding the proper methods of dealing with Vaesen. And the latest news has shaken us to our core as Sir Rupert Merriweather and Eleanor Blakely, our recruiters and superiors at the society, they are believed lost at sea, along with Gail Mosling, Forsmark's aunt, I believe, as well, which is rather tragic. So there's a number of unresolved issues that are hanging around. Henry is still being stalked by what we believe to be a werewolf. It was last sighted in the courtyard at the back of Rose House. We did manage to recover a piece of skin with a tattoo on it, a part of a tattoo from the railings. And at the end of the last session, we were about to go off and use our new and as yet unnamed dog to trace the owner of this patch of skin. We also believe the spiritus affecting Gladys Pugh originally came from Sister Josephine Swan, who gave it to Rachel Brown. So that is a thread that we've yet to follow. Apple the fairy is still resident in Rose House, having terrified Mosling. The fairy was trapped there during the house's construction, as its network of pathways was blocked. We're kind of undecided as to what's best to do with Apple. Some of us are rather more favourable to Apple's presence than others. And the other thing is we have a journalist who's sort of following us around, floating around, and threatening to poke his nose into our affairs at the worst possible opportunity. So this week, as I say, we were about to go off and try tracking this werewolf, but as we were about to do so, a telegram arrived. We were sort of obviously don't really know what to do with Rupert and Eleanor missing. We'd sent off some letters. We did find that there are other branches of the society around the world, and we got a telegram from Linnea Elthaclint, which read, "To the members of the society, continue your investigations. Help is on the way." And that's about it, I think.
Yes, thank you, Steve. So let's bring the other players on. Let's bring on John, who plays B.
Hello.
Hey, John. Give us a little lowdown on B.
B is a hunter who, until recently, lived in the woods in whatever the Victorian version of an off-grid living situation is, along with her 5-year-old son. She's now mostly living in the city as part of the society, and may have somewhat taken fairy renter as a sort of unofficial ward charge thing. It's totally fine, and no one is going to object to, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely nobody. Who could possibly object to that? Thanks, John. Let's bring on Sam, who plays Hooks.
Hello.
Sam, give us a little on Hooks, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Hux is kind of an older guy. He's fairly broad, fairly tall, a bit of an ill repute sort, perhaps a bit of a scoundrel. I think he's starting to get used to this life of luxury, having kind of lived a bit on the street and traveled all over and been a bit of a rough sort of gentleman, you might say. And yeah, he's kind of quite enjoying the freely available drink and warm, comfortable place and all that sort of thing. Apparently it can be of some use as well at the same time. I think he's probably a little more moderate than B. I'm not entirely sure he 100% is happy about this fairy house guest, but he's certainly not quite as extreme as some of our other members of the group might be.
Lovely, thank you. Speaking of, let's bring on Inga, who plays Constance.
That
What do you
perfectly.
mean?
Good segue. Tell us a little about Constance, please, Inga.
Well, Constance is the extreme member of the group, apparently. She is a nun, following the priest sort of archetype from the book, but basically a nun who is very clear about Vaesen clearly being, the devil's presence on earth, and has found purpose in the society in dealing with Vaesen, and trying to cleanse the world of their presence and influence, which obviously is everyone's totally on board with. So yeah, the aforementioned tension, there it is. Yes, and I think there's some of these Spartus kind of lines. There's some connections seemingly with Constance's sort of church where she sort of found her faith and stuff. So definitely some funny business to pursue there.
Thank you. And finally, let's bring on Justin, who plays Gale Musling Falsemark.
Hello.
Justin, a quick rundown of Gale, please.
He is a writer with an interest in photography. He doesn't like fairies, generally a skeptical individual. Likes going on adventures to travel around the world, well, around the UK, discovering stuff about Vaesen.
Thank you. So the very end of the previous episode, as Steve kindly described, was that you received this telegram, which I think Henry read. So presumably you share that with the group.
Yes, I read it aloud.
There wasn't anyone else here at this point, was there? It was just us and Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And Rosie, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't named the dog yet.
We didn't.
Spoilers.
I mean, it's been revealed now. We can't just skip around that. We've decided.
What is it about you and Sam and secret names?
Decided the dog is going to be called Rosie, which is adorable. Well, I suppose. I mean, it's none of our dogs. It's everyone's dog, right? It's not one of our dogs.
Maybe Inga could explain why it's called Rosie.
The very complicated reasoning.
Rose house.
There we
Just
go.
a little nod.
Um,
Thought it was cute.
It's nice.
Right. Well, continue investigations. I suppose we ought to continue that. I suppose if help along the way.
what do you think that means?
Hawkins, you'll let us. Hawkins will let us know.
What do you think help is on the way means?
Jonny, this telegram, did it?
Yeah.
So it was from this Linnea, but did it mention like the name of? Did it give any other details of who they might be? I can't remember. Did we explain that it was from?
Yeah. So it is on sort of headed paper. So you basically know that it's from like the main, the Uppsala society headquarters. And do you ask Hawkins? Does Constance, because he was around?
It was more of a like. I guess it was less of a question, more of a like, more of a comment on. Yeah, I guess it was less of a question, more of a. He will tell us.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming it was an assumption rather than an order, I guess.
Yeah, he kind of overhears, says, well, yes, she is the well, I suppose the head of the society as a whole, in a way. They must be obviously taking this quite seriously, I suppose. Heads of one of the chapters missing, presumably after a visit to them. So they may have discussed something that they were coming back here to deal with, or
yeah, right after.
Do you know if they've had dealings with this Linnea before?
Oh yes. They communicate reasonably frequently. It's not strange for them to go there. Obviously, I wasn't concerned that they hadn't been back for a while, because it's not that strange for them to be gone for a few days when they visit Europe.
Did they speak well of her?
Yes. I'm sure there's no need to be concerned about Ms. Elphaclint.
Have we had visitors from Uppsala before? I'm presuming that help will mean a person, but perhaps not. But have they visited? Are they familiar with Rose House? Have you met others before?
I have not met them. It's possible they may have been in the country, but I would find it strange that they didn't come here if they were. So perhaps they have not been. If there is no reason to come, then perhaps that is why they have not, and why they do now.
Do you know?
Sounds like they've been. Sorry, Hans.
Hawkins, do you know anything of how this sort of thing normally happens? I mean, I'm not saying, folks who are in charge of a certain chapter, as you call it, go missing normally, but whatever happens to them, if they retire, if they, I guess pass of old age, whatever, is there a normal protocol for how someone else is chosen to take over? Do we know that? Or is it just kind of, you get this mysterious note?
The society as a whole works as a kind of, I suppose you could call it a cooperative in a way. Whilst I suppose Sir Rupert and Eleanor are in charge here in a way, really you have as much say as they do in your daily actions.
I see. So it's just about who's recruited and where. That's what makes the society.
Essentially, yes. I understand that you keep hope that they return, but if they don't, I would imagine that if you were all willing, you would continue exactly as you have been doing, with very little change, and you make decisions between yourselves with things. Perhaps, if they do return, then given some time, you will all be considered on equal footing once you have the experience. And I suppose only if the entire group were to go missing or leave at once, there would be need for further intervention. If things continue on, others probably don't feel the need to be involved.
Yeah, I see.
You commented earlier, Hawkins, you don't really consider yourself part of the society. Why is that?
Well, I'm not a recruited member. I suppose I'm akin to, administrative staff at a learning establishment. I'm not carrying out the expected duties of the organization. I'm simply enabling them.
Well, that's just as valuable a part. It's a learning establishment might not be a teacher, but you're still part of the staff. It's the same sort of thing, is it not?
Yes, very kind of you to say, but I suppose I wouldn't be considered faculty. Is that the word you would use for? I don't know. Anyway.
Right. Well, it's very important.
The fact that they are sending help means that they too have hope that they are still alive, because, as I say, they usually wouldn't necessarily feel the need to be involved if other society members remained.
Well, I certainly hope that's the case. Yes. Well, if somebody is potentially headed over, I guess we should, read what we can about the society, try to get up to speed ourselves, see whether there's anything we're missing in the library, and yes, if they are potentially coming over to help with search or potential rescue of Rupert and Eleanor, perhaps we should keep our ears open for news of sightings or such along the coast. Perhaps we can make contacts there, or I don't know, maybe plan a trip. I'm not sure.
Well, we've been instructed to continue our investigations, so I suppose we should continue to do that. I am a little curious as to what this help is for. If we're able to continue our investigations, and as Hawkins, as you say, if generally we're able to operate reasonably independently and carry on as we are, Rupert and Eleanor were not helping us a great deal, kind of day to day on our current investigations. Wonder if there's something else that they're suggesting we're going to need help with.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Seems like there's a lot about the society we don't properly understand yet.
We have to wait and see.
Although I've said, that it's in a way sort of a cooperative, they are, I suppose, what you would consider senior members of the society that are missing. Perhaps other senior members want to ensure that, no offense to yourselves, obviously, but you have a reasonably small amount of time dealing with these things. Even the logistics of travel and any number of things that you may think are, yes, they may just feel that an extra, more experienced pair of hands may be useful.
Well, absolutely. It's all very important stuff. Things won't run smoothly unless everything the ship is in order, as it were. So yes, no, that absolutely cautious words on my part. Sorry, sorry, I've just totally broken myself there. Sorry. Oh dear.
Did we
Strong start.
discover whether?
Sorry, guys.
Did we discover whether Mosling had made it to the house yet this morning?
Yeah, Musling.
Yeah, you had.
I think we
Yeah,
did.
appeared,
you
yeah.
saw me
Yeah.
leaving with Apple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
lunchtime or something. Friday
Okay,
now, isn't
that's
it?
good.
Yeah,
Got-
it's early
got
afternoon
something
now.
around.
So what does continue as we were mean here then? Do we
they-
keep looking for those two lost at sea like we were? Are we going to do something about that, or does that imply we should just get on with our own investigations here and they'll look into it? I don't know where we
mean-
go really.
Were we really investigating it yet?
Yeah, well, that's what we were deciding. Guess we still got to decide. Could go to Hull.
Well, we've got this rather present threat here at the house itself with your stalker, Miss Bonneville, and we've still got this loose thread of this Gladys business to follow up. You know, just a day or so ago, everybody was very keen to be taking another trip to go visit my old stomping grounds. I suppose we could go off up to wherever this ship has gone missing as well and try and track that down. But I suppose it depends on what we think are the most pressing priorities.
Well, looking on the bright side, I suspect my particular problem will always stay close at hand. So I don't need to worry about that unduly.
That wasn't really my concern with that matter. It's actually, if anything, rather more worrying, Mr. Bonneville.
Wasn't the moon the concern though? Is it past for now?
I don't know. There seems to be some flexibility in that aspect. There could well be a benefit. I do worry about the incident with the sea serpent was bad enough. I don't like these being around large populations. If we are to tackle anything dangerous, it would make sense to try to tackle it somewhere quieter. So perhaps that's a reason for me to travel away from London somewhere.
What, into the barren wasteland of Hull?
Well, that would be if we were going to, that was some the shipyard or something was in Hull, right? If we wanted to go back to visit my church, it's a slightly quieter little town, and I mean, as you know, I came to faith through an encounter with, there was the Reverend there had some understanding of, or some way of knowledge of dealing with Vaesen. There might be knowledge there that we can gain that might help us with other investigations as well. That might be an option too.
Yes, I think any knowledge we can gather now that we've lost two major sources of wisdom and information. Yes, I think any more we can gain would certainly be beneficial.
I mean, to my knowledge, there's nothing like the libraries at Rose House, but honestly, I wasn't all that curious at the time. It wasn't my area of focus. That Vaesen was such an extreme. It wasn't the norm. It's not like the church had a it's not what they proclaimed. It wasn't part of their sermon. It was something that helped me and had brought me there, but. And obviously, the Reverend had some knowledge of, in order to be able to help me. And maybe it was very specific information, but I don't know. But it's that there's at least some knowledge there, I suppose. But yes, I mean, I don't know what else we were hoping to learn from Hull. Just something about there's another ship going that might.
I reckon that this Alpha Clint Well, she sent the telegram here, which means whoever is turning up is probably going to turn up here. So maybe visiting the nunnery that's closer. It is closer to London, isn't it?
Just outside of Oxford, not far.
Maybe that will give us enough time to be back and time for someone to come over from Sweden, however long that takes. If they're sending someone for Sweden. Hawkins, are we definitely the only, English chapter?
There's a Scottish chapter.
Ah,
There is.
maybe they're sending someone down from there then.
You'd hope it would be quicker to get to and from Oxford than to and from Sweden or wherever they are.
So you're saying we should go out and have a quick visit of Sister Constance's nunnery first, while we've got the time? I suppose it's continue our investigation.
I think it makes more sense than going all the way up to Hull for now.
Perhaps
Right.
we can just simply send a message to the shipping company at Hull and just ask them for information and give our contact details and just ask them to keep in touch. That would perhaps be a start.
Equally, we could send a message across the sea to folks in Uppsala, was it, or wherever? Telegram will arrive there pretty speedy, right? We could find out whether they're sending someone or not, at least. No, for sure.
Maybe ask them
Equally,
what
if they
their
come and we're
requirements
not
are.
here, Hawkins will know where we are. We can always either you can let us know to come back, or they can come out to visit us. So, it's not too far, I suppose.
Do you feel comfortable with us all heading to your nunnery, Sister Constance? I know that's a bit of a, I don't know, imposition perhaps.
No, I mean the church is welcoming to anyone who wants to come and visit.
Well, yeah, but
I-
you know the reason we all agreed to go isn't because we were coming to have a happy visit. So it's a bit, I don't know, rude, is it?
It's very considerate of you, Hux. Yes, I do think there have been some. If things have felt a bit accusatory, I suppose. I think we don't know what's happened, and I think these are good people who've been incredibly helpful, and I think we shouldn't assume the worst going in. But of course, you're all very welcome.
I agree. I think we should, if we do all go, be as polite as we can. And I'll give B a little look.
B, it does not look at you.
It's not strictly a sort of a convent or nunnery in the way that we saw with Sister Griffiths. It is a church. There's, I did sort of. There are nuns there. There's sort of a small attachment. It's a community church. It's more like what we saw in Bodmin or somewhere similar, but maybe a little bigger, a little more involvement in the parish and such. Yes, but I mean, like I say, I think they're very welcome. They said that you come anytime. So I don't think we need to send advance notice or anything like that. Should all be fine. Do you want to make preparations to head off today?
Ain't that far, is it, Oxford? We could just jump on the afternoon or evening train if we wanted. Depends what other ideas folks have, though.
Well, Henry and I were planning on going and picking up a trail until before it rains. Seeing if that'll lead us anywhere.
We don't all need to go to Oxford
Sorry,
together.
is this dog trained? Is that trained for hunting or tracking?
Yeah.
What's it called?
No idea.
Let's call her Rosie.
Yeah, what a great idea.
Role play.
Seamless. Beautiful. It's,
Seamless.
Sorry, Justin.
Right. I mean, well, we don't have to rush off to the church. We can pursue this and head off tomorrow, or depending on what we find.
No, I don't think there's any reason to delay. And there's nothing left to be doing.
I have an inkling that this trail isn't going to lead us too far. So I'd like to at least see how far it gets us. The good news, at least, is Rosie doesn't like the smell of whatever this thing is.
That is good news. But they're both.
What are you planning to do with that once you've finished with this morning, this afternoon?
The dog?
No, the dog's fine. It's quite unsavory. This scrap of whatever it is, you've got it sniffing.
I believe there are more unsavory things in the library. If you look in some of the cabinets, I think it will probably be archived.
I'm not sure it will come to that. Once we're done, we can burn it. I don't think it's just
it's not in keeping with the society's way of doing things.
I haven't looked around that library very much. Do we really keep manky things like that in there as well as books? Huh.
I don't know. Fun. Do we?
Yes.
Have we found the secret occult library yet? I don't think we've delved into
more
secrets. Holy water.
I think these kinds of things, you never know when they're going to be important. Anything that we can archive for the society's use. None of you are thinking like academics here.
I don't think hunks of flesh will keep very well.
We'll find a way of preserving it. I'm sure I have some fluids that I can pull out of the chemistry set that we could use to set this thing or fix this thing.
Could you?
I think it'd be very important.
Or Hux, maybe make a copy of the patterns on it. Either a photograph or a drawing.
That'd be a start.
The sketch. Let me see. I say as I see.
I'll just sort of pin it down on a bit of card or something.
Assume I sketched the bit of the tattoo, which probably doesn't really tell us anything because it's tiny.
But it means if we, find someone, we can jigsaw.
Well, the skin would probably shrink a bit. Anyway, should we go?
Step out the door, still talking about it.
As you step outside, you see two policemen walking towards the door of Rose's house. They're just stepping onto the bottom step.
Are you guys stepping out the front or out the back for the trail?
We have to go out the front because we have to go outside.
Oh, around outside the gate. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Happy to step forward.
Has made an effort to follow us. I'm going to try and subtly shove him back. Not because I think he's done anything, just in case he's done something.
It's
Hux walks and just whistles and goes. And walks back in again.
The profiled Hux. They got your face on all of the notice boards. I'm going to step forward and engage them unless anyone else is going to do that.
You recognize them as the same police who you dealt with at the beginning of the Sea Serpent investigation. And the one whose name I've lost now, who you thought seemed pretty... Oh, Officer Marks says, good afternoon.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Is a Mr. Huxley here?
Huxley. Huxley. Could you describe the gentleman? My colleague's just stepping out to walk the dog.
He is a man of few means, I believe, sir.
Well, pointing at the large establishment of our house.
I understand, but we have
a
this,
servant. I'll bring out. He does look quite. Does look quite disturbing. I think he may have a criminal past. He goes by the name of Hawkins these days, but I can bring him out if you're looking for someone. I think it must be him. And I'll go. Seeking to comply with the officers, I open the door and say, I'll summon the reprobates and call for Hawkins.
Hawkins comes up to the door.
Hawkins, these gentlemen are looking for a character that I can only assume must be you, given their loose description. You didn't call yourself a Huxley in a previous life, did you?
You see him sort of twig on. Yes, sir. I'd be more than happy to speak to them if you want to invite them in.
Well, if Hawkins seems to think it's a good idea to invite them in, then I can only assume that Hux has made himself scarce.
Says, what's this matter you need some help with?
Are you in? Have you invited?
I'll happily invite them in if that's the case. Yeah.
He says
before they get in, you know, while he's talking to Hawkins, what is this you want help with?
Hux will be able to hear through what's going on. So
no need to worry, sister. It's just an acquaintance of his has got himself in a bit of bother.
Oh, I see. Well, maybe if this Hux, I don't know. If this is, I don't know. What? Unfortunately, if this man isn't the one you're after, then I don't know how we could really help you.
Is Hux so far away that he won't have been able to overhear this?
I suspect that I probably am not that far away.
Because, I'm just thinking, if you've overheard that it's not that they're looking for you per se, you may want to react differently.
Yeah. I might have reacted, although now Gale's dug himself this hole. I'm not exactly sure.
I can get out of this hole. You want to get out of this hole? I'll get out of this hole.
He's got a spade. He can keep digging. Don't you worry about him.
Hawkins, what was that name of that boy that we brought with them?
I reckon
the man that we've been having to build our new kennels. The shifty-looking one.
I'll come around the corner and just say, how can you possibly mix up Hux and Hawkins, Mr. Mosling Force Mark?
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, I don't know how I
and
did
then
that.
the officers.
You're Mr. Huxley. I remember you, sir, from the evening with that missing gentleman.
And I'll go shake hand.
Yeah. I'm afraid, sir, that your friend, Mr. Eric Price, has got himself in a bit of bother.
Eric Price. Can't remember.
Oh,
can you remind me of Eric Price from the?
You may know him by the name Shorty. I think that's the name that he goes by.
Yeah. I haven't called him that proper name in a very long time.
Well,
Shorty.
Well, he's got himself in a bit of bother with smuggling, Mr. Huxley, and it's looking likely that he may end up in Australia. So. Well, he gave you as a contact for somebody that should be made aware of his predicament. And we're just here to deliver the news.
So does that mean I'm expected to do anything with that news?
Not at all, sir, if you don't wish to. He obviously doesn't have the money for any legal representation.
Yeah, I get the hint.
No hint, sir. As I say, makes no odds to us. I would like a man to receive proper and fair justice, but I'm simply here to deliver news.
I'll stare at him for one moment and then nod and say, "Aye, all right. Down the station this evening, tomorrow. What's best?"
You have some time, sir. No huge rush. I don't think he'll be seen by a magistrate for probably a couple of weeks.
No. Well, I won't make him wait too long. I'll probably be in tomorrow morning.
Very good, sir. Good day, everyone. Mr. Hawkins, he says.
I'll wait for them. I'll wait for them to leave, and then just look at Gale and be like, "Yeah, I know I avoided them, but I haven't actually committed any crimes in quite a while, you know."
I feel if we go around,
If I have to
telling
ask you
ourselves-
before we talk to the police whether you've committed a crime recently, it won't work, Hux.
Fine, just trust me. I haven't committed a crime.
I care not whether you've
there was
committed crimes or not, as long as it doesn't get away in the way of our investigations.
There was the potential crime we all committed in the sewers of London. Ignoring that one, of course.
Crime is just another way of gathering the information that we need to do this important job.
B
I
and Henry, I think, have already stepped out, but John does need to remind you, we did do something very illegal.
Yeah, it's true. I have no problems with this.
I mean, Hux wasn't involved in that.
Yes, you were. You and I went and bought dynamite.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about break into the woman's house. We've done so
I'm
many.
just like,
Oh, yeah,
illegal
no.
There are
things.
too many
none of the
illegal
illegal
things.
things that I've done recently are
Which
the things
illegal
that
thing?
that keep me up at night. Like, you know.
Henry's just sprinting down the street at this point, I think.
I just think, Mr. Moslick, that if we are going to freely introduce ourselves and give out our address, we probably can't get away with feigning ignorance as to our identities. However else we want to deal with things, I'm not sure that ignorance is entirely the right course. But
I mean, we're already dealing with the London Constabulary here. It's not like we're dealing with the fine likes of an investigative PI. These people, you know, that's anyone in the Metropolitan these days.
Yeah, but equally, I feel like this society is fairly on the up and up, more or less. We probably shouldn't go giving fake names to the constabulary.
I don't see why we don't give fake names to more people. That's the root of our main problem, is that we haven't used enough fake names.
I'll tap Hawkins on the shoulder and say, "Sorry about that, Hawkins."
Oh, no problem, sir.
See, he's fine with it. I say, putting my coat back on and going towards the door.
Anyway, that's not something for me to worry about right now. What are we doing?
I think they've already gone. Let's see if we can catch up.
So you're going around the back of the house to be outside the railings to them. Okay. So I assume that the dog is going to be used as a hunting dog.
Yes.
Because there's hunting dog and guard dog, right? Have you, because I can't remember exactly, do they just give you like an advantage on an investigation roll?
That would be a wonderful thing to know.
I should have checked this. And I
Hunting
can't
dog,
even see.
+3 bonus used for vigilance, close combat, and investigation.
+3.
Cool.
Hunting
really
dog
good.
is +3, a guard dog is +2 for vigilance and close combat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you would like to make an investigation roll with +3 dice.
Yes.
And I guess like you can both do that, I suppose.
I would probably argue that only one person could, because they're the
But
one.
add a d6 then for the assist.
I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, I think B knows what she's doing. I don't think Henry does.
Yeah.
So,
Which is
other
fine.
than
I
moral
don't know
support.
how you don't have more investigation skill.
Oh no, I've got loads of investigation skill.
Right.
It's just dealing with, using a dog as an
dog.
implement. Henry is not trained with dogs.
Okay, so I'll normally roll 8 plus the 3
So you'll
for the
roll
dog
12.
plus 1 for Henry. So 12. And luckily,
that's guaranteed a success, surely.
it
Guaranteed
should be
negative
2.
success.
Failure.
See, I thought that perhaps our bad luck with our d6s is because they don't match. So I went out and I got a set, 2 actual dedicated sets, because some systems want like different colors. So I had my
Yeah.
2. And you know what? Since I started using these, first time I rolled them on 20 dice, I got 5 6s. So
Nice.
Wow.
we gotta watch
That's
me.
evidence. That's
completely fluff it
ironclad
now.
evidence.
So it's
I feel like
12
last week we were
dice.
rolling better as well, generally. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's just a new arc, new dice roll luck, you know.
Well, you know,
it's-
we're not in the present threat of being torn apart by sea serpents. So
The luckiest dice I own is the dice
As
that
far
comes
as
from
you
my
know.
childhood Monopoly set, which is wooden and has my tooth marks in it from
Nice.
my
Nice.
childhood.
Love it.
That was 1 success. So I
Big enough,
Okay.
too
overegged them a
much.
little bit. But, you know,
it's probably
Okay, so
performance anxiety.
yeah.
you kind of dangle the bit of flesh in front of the dog, and you know, you kind of getting to grips with this. The dog's kind of learning this skill almost, but it sniffs around, sort like the base of the area that you can see is still slightly bloodied on the spike on the top, and then all of a sudden starts pulling away from the house. So are you just following, I assume? Yeah. So you and are we going to say that these guys sort of catch you up along the way as well? Because you'll have spent some time around there catching the scent and
Cool.
kind of stuff. So, yeah, you move along, and you are moving toward the river, and you start to hear sort of the sound of the bells on boats and stuff, and you head down to the sort of down some steps onto one of the little sort of shore areas, and then the dog sits at the water's edge.
Are we at a part of the water's edge where one could moor a boat?
Yes, there are boats here, but not at this specific point. But in your brain, you're like, it's quite possible that there was a boat here that this person got on, potentially.
Is there anywhere that overlooks this spot, like a pub?
Yeah,
or window overlooks it, or
you've come down some stairs, so there's the walkway along the top. On this side, it's more sort of industrial and shipping. The other side, there are residential buildings.
okay. I was just thinking if there was anyone we could ask if they saw something odd that night, such as
You
a
could
huge
certainly go
shape
door knocking
leaping
at
into the
It's like townhouses on the other side.
yeah.
Do they
I
need to
suggest.
Do they need to pay some sort of fee to moor here, the boats? I don't know. Would anybody just sort of looking around the group if anyone looks like they might know the answer to
I
that
feel like
question?
Hux might know if it's a dodgy or not dodgy area. Is it?
I
what
rolled a
sort of area
dice,
of the
and
docks is it?
the dice says they don't have to pay a fee.
So theoretically, yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
But-
But how dodgy is it?
But somebody rocking up in the middle of the night and tying a boat up and then coming back to the boat and leaving again, you know.
Yeah.
It's probably, you can see that there is somebody here now who is sort of overseeing things, but it's probably a 9 to 5, you know, or thereabouts. And outside of that, probably not bothered that much.
Is there evidence of any visible tracks around?
Well, so you're on, there's sort of a wooden kind of pier thing, and then this is like a beach almost here. But this is, you know, there are a bunch of tracks on it. Nothing distinguishable, and not like a paw print. apart from the dog's paw prints, I suppose.
No more ominous hunks of flesh.
No more ominous hunks of flesh. No.
Oh my gosh, the dog's paw prints. I can imagine Bonneville turning around and going, there, right there. Oh.
But I will say the dog does now have the scent, so I'm not going to make you keep hold of the thing if you want to get rid of it.
Can I make an attempt to do some door knocking in the most obvious places?
Absolutely.
Not spending all the day doing it, but some amount of time.
I suppose
I'd have let people know, the precise time of.
Yeah.
I suppose inspiration or manipulation. I think it'd probably be manipulation, but you can do inspiration, can't you? Instead,
I can
journalist
when
thing, is that right?
when charming or deceiving to gain information. That's when I can use it. I think
That's
this
what
is to
you're doing,
gain
I suppose,
information.
isn't it? Yeah.
I can try and be charming. That is then 8 dice, unless anyone's got any modifiers that I would benefit from.
Well,
I would benefit more from.
While Justin's rolling that as well, I would say Hux will maybe do something similar with whatever that harbour master sort of person is. The person who's kind of in charge of the area who moors, just to see if they did hear anything odd that night.
One
Sounds
success.
good, Justin. Okay. Sam, do you want to also roll manipulation to get information? Okay, yeah. So Justin, Gale knocks on a couple of doors, and the people there are like, "No, that's too late. We were in bed." And then you knock on a door, and a sort of dishevelled-looking man, sort of red-eyed, answers. Looks like he's just got out of bed, and says, Yes. Yeah, there's not often people down there at night, so it was noticeable. But yeah, he rocked up and pretty agile, sort of ran and jumped on the boat and set off.
Jumped on the boat. Interesting.
Yeah, pretty speedy.
And it was just
assume maybe it was smuggling and was trying to get away, but
just a small rowboat type thing.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. Quiet, they're quiet and easy to hide, aren't they? So I think people use them when they're nipping illegal things around. No, me neither.
I played last night. Are you night shift? Would you work on the docks at night?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. You can just smell booze coming off him.
Yeah. That's been very helpful.
Anytime. Later,
I take a step away from the door and let him close it on me.
He goes as if to wave and then stops himself and closes the door.
I just start thinking of fake names to give out. I will tell the gang what I was told. But I'm like,
Sam,
I wouldn't trust him.
Yeah. How did you roll, Sam?
I remembered I have a mental condition, so I got 6 dice rather than 7, but I still got 1 success.
Okay.
And I guess I'll slip the Harbour Master a shilling and then just ask if there's any particular disturbance or anything unusual that night, basically.
Yeah. He leans in. I imagine it comes as no surprise that there's sometimes some less reputable trade that goes on through these docks. And sometimes I have a boss, he takes a lot of what I take. So sometimes out of hours, I'll, run my own business, as it were.
Seems only fair, given how much those up top take to me.
Quite right. I like you. Well,
I might use the opportunity to slip him another shilling and then just say, what kind of business might these folks be involved in? Trying to hint at that evening in particular, if possible.
well, funny thing is, there wasn't really supposed to be anything going on that evening. And in fact, I showed up the next day, and one of the lads' boats was gone.
Oh,
Got in a spot of bother, actually, as it happens.
Someone nicked it. What sort of boat?
Little rower.
Not very much.
Not the most expensive for me to replace, but still a pain in the behind.
Well, thanks. It's good to know. Something dodgy going on. Hope they don't show up and bother you again.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, back to the day job. You! Oi!
I'll leave him to it. I will head over and share the extra bit that whoever was there clearly didn't arrive there and instead showed up and just stole a boat and rowed off.
I'm going to praise Rosie for a job well done.
She's very happy. Tongue out, tail wagging.
Where do we go from here, though? Assuming this mysterious stalker of yours, Mr. Bonneville, came from somewhere else, came to our house, ran to the docks, and then stole a boat and rowed off. Doesn't really tell us much about where they came from or where they went. Could have gone anywhere.
Perhaps you could ask the smugglers if they find the boat to tell us where it was abandoned.
That's a good idea. They must have dumped it somewhere.
Seems a little less mysterious somehow. He gave it a bit of a fright. It ran off. It jumped on a boat. That seems very. There's something strangely ordinary about it, I think.
Also, to go for a rowboat, we're quite away from our house here. Is this a plan that they had to escape detection somehow, or they were going somewhere very particular? It's a bit of an odd choice to me.
It does. I mean, unless they knew that the boat was going to be here, in which case, are they in the circle of these smugglers? Do they run in the same circles? Is there a connection there?
We did think the tattoo could be a sailor thing, didn't we?
We did, but then when they have their own boat or something, you'd think they wouldn't be stealing from each other.
It's certainly odd. I mean, to be honest, I don't really understand. Yes. This thing has crept up at the strangest times, and there's been no apparent plan as such. I don't know what they have in mind. The thing that the wolf could have jumped me in the courtyard. I suppose it chose not to, and honestly, I'm not sure why it fled in this manner. It's certainly, I can't really sense a reason for it.
To be fair, a lot of the Vaesen we encounter, it's difficult to sense reason in them.
That's true.
But it's not appearing out of thin air. It's coming, it's traveling somehow and follow. It is stalking you in the sense that we would understand it. It's not like that red cat that's sort of appeared almost
Out of thin air,
really
no, indeed.
quite thin. Yeah. Or the pixies move down, disappearing, and things like that. It is following you, which means we should be able to see it. There must be some. If it can track you, there must be some way of tracking it. There's something very of this world about that feels tangible somehow.
Yes, I agree. Yes, we've certainly made some form of progress. It would be, yes, I think if we could find the... I wonder how far they could have gone in an evening.
Yeah, even someone who was very fit and well wouldn't travel more than 10 miles along the river in this, I'd imagine. Even that, probably farther. I imagine there'll only be a couple of miles up or downstream. Dump the thing somewhere. It might even be worth asking around some of the shadier spots. I bet a boat like that, people would have noticed it, picked it up, taken off. It's worth something. I bet they didn't haul it up wherever they went and took it with them. So I bet it's somewhere. If we don't want to go off immediately, I could have a look around.
Yes, it might be worth maybe walking some sections of the riverbank and just keeping an eye out.
Well, I bet downriver. If you were rowing away from somewhere you didn't want to be, you wouldn't go upriver, would you? I'll start walking downriver slowly.
Before you go, I hesitate to ask Hux, are you aware of any particular spots that might be associated with smuggling?
Jonny, how familiar am I with smuggling in the Thames? I feel like it's probably a long time ago for me, but maybe.
Well, we know one person who's obviously...
Yeah, and I knew Shorty.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, everyone's innocent until proven guilty.
I'm not sure how well, but you immediately would think, if you're going to go see Shorty anyway.
Yeah, fair.
If you can ask away from prying ears, because obviously you don't want to throw him under the bus by...
That's a good point, and that's him paying us back a bit for the help we might do him as well, so... I'll tell you what, yeah, I think Hux might turn around and go, you know what? There's one person I can go and talk to about this, and I know exactly where he is. And I'll probably suggest I head back to Rose's house, get a bit more money for bail from Hawkins, and then head to the station. Unless anyone has other ideas.
Well, I've no silver cutlery left.
Well,
that sounds...
donors, right?
I mean, fewer than we did last week.
Yeah, I think with this knowledge, I'll probably, yes, want to go back to the house. Maybe find some sort of little petri dish to put the skin in, so Moslin can hang on to it if he wants.
Thank you.
And yes, just try scouring the library again. I still don't think that we've extracted all of the information we can as the library for werewolves.
Is it still it's still late afternoon sort of time? Is it, Jonny?
Yes, yeah, late afternoon, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll be happy to head to the station now then. I think I'd approach Sister Constance and say, Sister, would you be willing to come with me to the station? It makes me look a bit more reputable, I think. And having the good word of God and on my side and all that might help a bit. And I mean, to be honest, it might reassure Shorty a bit too.
I think Shorty will be reassured by me. Well, yes, of course. If you'd like me to come along, I will join you, of course.
Depends what mood he's in. Cool. I will, head to the station with Constance then. Presumably it's not too far.
No. And Officer Marks is in the station when you get there. Mr. Huxley, much earlier than we were expecting you, sir.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. This is Sister Constance, friend of mine.
Do you want to speak to Mr. Price?
Yeah, if possible.
Very good. And he takes you down to where the cells are and basically drops you in there with him.
Cool. I was kind of thinking like it's it's still the late 1800s. The vast majority of people are still pretty religious, so I kind of assume Shorty is at least somewhat religious. Guess it's a safe bet.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be perturbed by you bringing
Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll go in the
With
cell.
my nun friend.
Yeah, exactly. My nun friend. Look at my nun friend. I think Hux is genuinely kind of like, he quite likes having a nun friend.
All right, Hux.
All right, Shorty. What have you been up to then?
Nothing.
I know. Don't
Sorry
worry. She's all right.
sorry for dragging you into this.
Yeah, was I the first name that came to your mind?
Yeah, for a number of reasons. We obviously go back a long way, and you've given me I think your address on that scrap of paper. So
Nothing to do with this newfound status I've apparently stumbled into.
Well, we've got to use what we can get, Hux.
I know. Have we been like left alone in the cell? I guess I will have like a check out of the bars a bit as well to check if.
Yeah, so there is.
No one's listening.
So Marx is in the hallway, but he's not like directly outside, so you could speak quietly and get away with it.
Cool. Is he like in the hallway as in he's standing nearby to listen in, or is he in the hallway as in a distance away? Not.
He's standing nearby in case anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
But he's not earwigging.
Okay. I think if he's doing that polite waiting in case anything goes wrong, I think I'll just say to him, "Don't worry, we're perfectly safe with this one. You can give us a bit of space."
Well, yeah, but protocols.
Fair enough. I'm tempted to try and make a manipulation roll of something to try and persuade him to bug off, but I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would say.
I would say that the more you protest, the more it sounds like you're trying to do something dodgy. Please go away, everything's fine.
It's probably a bad idea to try and bribe him at this moment because that's really suspicious. So I think I'll just leave it
be. He does not seem like a cop that can be bribed.
Are we like it? Are we like? Where is he? Like, are we like in like a new section?
You're in a cell.
We're in this. We're actually like in the cell with the guy. I'll take your lead. If you assume, presumably you've kind of ushered me into the cell with you. So
I mean, not if you don't want to.
No, I was just thinking, like, maybe I'll go and make some idle chatter with the guy to provide a little bit of cover, but like, not if you want. Yeah, I probably would have just followed you into the cell. It's fine. We'll leave it.
Sure.
I'm in there with you.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. So I guess first of all, I'll say, so you got any chance of bail, or are you stuck in here until court?
I think I'm stuck. Probably sending me to Australia.
But you're innocent, right?
Bastards. Yeah, but what's a man like me get away with being innocent for?
Yeah, no.
He kind of leans in and goes, well, I'm innocent of what they're charging me for.
Yeah, I know. It's that innocent thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what are they charging you for?
Transporting weapons.
That's not your stuff.
No. Not at all.
You reckon someone's been doing something and just put the blame on you?
Yeah, probably somebody with a hell of a lot more money than me. If they're transporting weapons.
Yeah, compared to your usual stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what kind of weapons?
Oh, like firearms, sister.
That's real hot stuff in London.
It happens, but it wasn't me, so.
How do you get mixed up in all of this? What have they? Why have you been charged with this?
Well, I do help people move things, sister. Sometimes I help people move people who might be about to get in trouble, but I didn't do this.
But he's an easy one to blame. How did the blame land on you, though? Was there something planted in your stuff you knew of? Or
Somebody
just a
must have
word?
shot me. I think the stuff got found en route. Nobody around. Got put on me.
No idea who could have said it, though. Who could have said it was you?
Nah. Probably a dirty copper. I bet whoever's moving the stuff is in with one of them.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I was going to say it all sounds a little bit flimsy, but I suppose that wouldn't matter if there's something like that going on.
Well, exactly.
Anyway, I don't expect you to be able to pay for anything, Hux. I just wanted somebody to know that I might be going.
I see what you mean. Well, we're already investigating some stuff down the docks for our other job anyway, so while we're there, we'll see what we might be able to dig up to help you out. Something going on. Doesn't seem much fair that you're to blame for all of it. What, do you know anything about weapons at all? Heard any rumors?
No, they're always being moved, but nothing specific.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe you'll be able to help us out a wee bit as well. Do you heard any thoughts about where someone might pull up where they wouldn't be seen, or somewhere they might dump a rowing boat they've nicked? We're on the track of someone else as well, so.
Now, these are things that I can help you with, Hux. And he gives you the location of, if you tell him sort of the starting point.
Yeah, I will do. I don't see any point in hiding it from him where he is.
Yeah, he then gives you a few spots that are sort of similar shore areas that are like under a bridge and that kind of thing, where you'd be able to at least pull up and then, do something with the boat, whatever. And this isn't my guy that you're looking for.
No, this is someone else. We will have a look, though, I promise.
All right. Well, look, I've got a couple of weeks here at least, I reckon. So take your time.
Will do. I'll come check on you now and then, make sure they're treating you right. Sometimes they can be a bit rough in these places.
Marx is all right. He tends to keep most of them in line.
Would it bring you any comfort to sit and pray for a while? Happy to come and visit if that would bring you any comfort.
A visit from anyone's a break from the norm, sister, so certainly wouldn't go amiss.
I'll turn to you and give a small nod that's probably about as positive as you're going to get.
Yeah, well, whenever Hux is happy he's finished up, we'll sit and have like a little quiet pray.
Yeah.
Before heading out.
Yeah, I don't think unless there's anything else he wants to offer up. I think I'll leave him there.
Yeah, so Marx closes the door behind you and you hear from inside, "Bring some cake next time."
I'll just chuckle. I'll make a note in my notes. Bring cake.
Is it just a picture of a cake?
Cool. Yeah, I guess head back.
It seems I'm so sorry about your friend, Hux. If there's potentially some dodgy dealings happening here, I'm not sure how much we can do other than I do hear sometimes, the magistrates will look favourably upon, people showing some serious remorse or having they'd be very happy to go back and visit him and, help help him demonstrate his character, I suppose.
Yeah, well, sister, let's just say I wouldn't be too sharp to judge anyone who's in His Majesty, probably His Majesty's prison. It's one of those things where the people at the top never end up in there, and the people who are in there are always in for something like this. Not too surprised. Anyway, maybe he'll be able to help us out as well. Some of those locations sounded likely for our investigations. Just have to keep an ear out. Maybe we'll be able to help him. I think Huck's just genuinely quite down.
Are you heading to these places to investigate?
Obviously back to Rose House first. Unless it's like right en route. I'd rather report back and then see what we want to do.
Cool.
Yeah, I will get back and share the locations and also share that Shorty was definitely framed. And I think I'll just say something like, keep an ear out if you hear anything on the docks about weapons. If we can help him out, I'd like to. Do we want to go have a look tonight? It's almost supper time, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, you'd probably be very near to dark by this point, actually, given the time of year.
Maybe we go tomorrow morning.
Did we want to go to catch the evening train to Oxford?
I think we should look into this first. Trail's hot and all that. The longer we wait, the more likely this boat's going to disappear or people knowing about it's going to go away. If we don't go tonight, we should go first thing tomorrow morning.
Well, I think I owe Bradley talk. It's always good to keep him at least at arm's length, but not much further. So I might swing by his office.
Do you have a plan of what to talk to him about or distract him with?
I'm really interested in an arms traffic of firearms on the Thames.
I imagine he'd have, with quite a lot of glee, start probing around police officers and potential scandal or conspiracy or whatever it is.
Just
I
make
suppose
sure he
that would be
doesn't.
quite a juicy story.
Just make sure he doesn't start, pinning things on Shorty.
Well, we'll see. I think it's also worth asking, seeing if he's got any leads around this. If he's heard anything odd around this shipping company or the shipping route or something or other. If he's into the story, if he's got his teeth into it, then he'll have more leads than we do.
If he's a good journalist, certainly. But yes, if he has any, if he's heard of any sightings of wreckage, I suppose.
Ship goes missing at sea. Is that particularly?
It does strike. He's rather fond of salacious.
That was my thinking. It's quite an ordinary thing. I mean, I'm sure I know it's.
But it's death and drama and rich people sinking to the bottom of the ocean. It's the kind of thing that the Londoner on the street loves. And
Corruption
that's,
in the
I think,
police force, I think, is rather more salacious. And
I think we shouldn't talk.
well,
about
let's
that.
not tell
man on the
Bradley how to
street.
do his job. We'll let him lead on the headlines, and we can see what we can gain from it.
I will turn to Gil. I don't think we should talk about that yet. We don't. I think we're more likely to make things difficult for whatever's going on if we start talking about corruption in the police force, to be honest.
I didn't mention anything about corruption in the police force.
I know.
Anyway, well, would anyone like to come talk to Bradley with me? I know it's neither of those parts of that sentence were particularly appealing, but no. All right. Well, I'll just turn and walk off. I'll see you in the
definitely
evening.
getting a drink.
Okay, is anyone else doing anything while Justin is having the chat with Bradley?
I would like to drink with someone and get rid of my mental condition angry, if possible. I had angry for something previous, but now it definitely has a more relevant current reason why I'm angry. So.
I will sit and drink with Hux for a bit to get rid of my physical condition of battered.
I will be complaining to you thoroughly about corruption and how no one in prison is ever guilty of what they're there for, and it's always the people at the top that get away with everything. And going on and on, getting more and more drunk.
I will be propping myself up on as many cushions as I can reasonably find.
Cool.
Yes, I'd probably want to try and squeeze some information out of the library. At least try to, given my awful roles in trying to find werewolf information so far.
I'll join you in hitting the books. Can I also, I know I joked earlier, but can I also actually, if you're done with get the scent, try a drop of holy water, see if it sizzles on the scrap of skin.
I feel like we did that. I could be wrong.
I think Henry kept it. Did we try it?
We didn't do that because this is the first that Constance has seen of it.
I'm certainly fine with trying it. Yes. So currently, I don't know whether Mosling has it, but yes, it's sat in a little petri dish. So absolutely, in the right scientific environment for a test of. Sure. Yeah.
If in doubt, throw holy water at it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't try it at the police station.
We need a squirter with just like everyone we meet.
Yeah.
I'll get it like a nice perfume bottle, so it's like, yeah.
If you do it to Bradley, you'd probably explode.
Okay, yeah, you do that and nothing happens. There's no result.
I figured.
Do you two want to roll learning rolls for me to see what you find in the library?
Sure. That will be 9 dice for me now because I upgraded learning last week.
Nice.
Well, as much as it matters for the year 0 system.
Two successes on my 6 dice.
Nice.
Well, I got 1 success, so that's
okay. So at the moment you've got like the silver information, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve, go on. Were you going to say something?
We also, I don't know whether this was the same bit of information, but I think we learnt that it would only be effective if we shot the head or the heart.
Yeah. Okay, so Henry, much to his distress, fine, because you have the full moon information, I think, don't you?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. You find a story of a werewolf who isn't only affected by the full moon, but also can transform when it becomes intensely emotional in some way.
Okay.
So very, very sad, very angry. Has to be quite an intense emotion, but it can trigger it. So you're not safe just because it's not a full moon necessarily. Right. You're not sure about this one, probably, I don't think. But yes, you find that. Inga, Constance finds that there is a diary entry in a society journal. And some of these journals, they are like, they're kind of like notes from an experiment almost. So sometimes society members have tried a number of different things to see what works on a type of creature. So you don't know whether they had them constrained in some way or whether they, were sort of just in some kind of melee and trying different things. You're not sure. However, in a previous run-in with a werewolf, a Catholic exorcist was present as a part of the society, and tested using the werewolf's true name on it while it was transformed. And it is believed that removed the curse.
And any other information about what true name means? It's like the name it goes by as human,
Their human
or
name, yes.
their human name. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Right, well, this is very interesting, Spawnville. This definitely suggests that this creature spends time as a human, and it's something that hopefully we should be able to track, identify. There's real investigatory work that can be done, hopefully.
That does, yes. That is good news. That's that brings us quite a certain amount of hope. Although, if this person does this usage of the true name, does it have to be by a certain person or in a certain circumstance? I can't imagine that. Well, if it's simply the mention of their true name, I can't imagine that any curse would last for long at all.
Well, I suppose how many people would know that this creature is even human, let alone which human it is? There might be something. I imagine using the name. I think addressing it direct. I suppose just casual conversation about, Mr. Jimmy Biggins over there is probably not so relevant. But addressing the thing itself.
Perhaps when it's transformed, yes. Well,
yes, it was in a transformed state at this point in the notes. Yeah.
Well, that gives even more reason to try to track this this person down.
And it certainly seems like it's maybe something we can do to help both you and it. If it's a curse, it's something that's been done to this poor creature.
Well, I would certainly prefer to, if at all possible, deal with it in a way that doesn't involve shooting it dead.
You may be able to do quite a lot of good, hopefully.
I certainly hope so.
But it does mean we need to find a way to track and identify this creature. You say this thing seems to know where you are. That there must be some means by which it's able to figure that out. Who knows that you've? Maybe we need to make a list of everybody who would know that you were here at Rose House, and everybody who. Where did you say you last saw it? It was a train station. Who else would have known?
Oh, the last time I saw it was near the residence of Rachel Brown as we were going there for the first time to scope that place out. So I suppose it could have followed me from earlier on in the evening. It's quite hard to say.
The only other who would have known would have been us. You spoke to somebody at the theatre about, was that before or after?
I spoke to somebody at the theatre about Rachel Brown, but there was no indication that I was trying to follow her to her home at that point. And equally, the first time at the train station, that was at the station we reached in Manchester. So unless they knew that we were traveling, yeah, I don't know. There are still questions regarding how and why they managed to appear when they did.
I wonder whether we need to change course, change our destination in a very secretive sort of fashion, and see where if this thing does end up following us.
Well, I think at least now we have Rosie with us. We'll have some warning that the creature is nearby. I hope, at least. We've not had that before.
It also might make it might put some distance, though. Might make it a bit harder to track if it doesn't get us. Perhaps a two-pronged approach. Something to do with it following us or tracking and identifying it when it's close, but also I think we really ought to try and figure out who could possibly know and have interest in you for whatever reason. There's find the do the PI thing, find the connections.
Well, I suppose I can. This all started several weeks or months ago. I've forgotten how long we spent doing this whole society thing, but I'll perhaps cast my mind back to the case I was working on at the time when I was attacked in the woods, when I suffered my trauma. See whether anything springs to mind there.
And who would have known you'd come to London? I don't know whether that would have been common knowledge, but if it wasn't, that might help narrow the list.
I mean, I do have an office. I work from here, but beyond that, it's hard to say. Anyway, this has been incredibly valuable. Thank you, sister, for your assistance. I feel we've finally made a turn in the road.
You're absolutely right. There was more to be found.
So B and Hooks are just recovering from conditions. Justin, you get to the newspaper offices, and Bradley is just walking out the door with a briefcase.
Bradley, I'm glad I caught you. Look, I know you've probably heard about this, but I thought I'd come and tell you before you accuse me of trying to hide something from you again.
Oh, right. What is it?
Well, I'm sure you've heard about the smugglers.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me about your aunt's boat. Something about that.
Oh, that.
Smugglers.
I mean, it's tragic, but...
I mean there's always smugglers, but...
Indeed. So, where are you off to? We can talk on the way.
Heading home for the evening. We could go get a drink.
Let's do that.
Yeah. He wanders over to the one that you sat in, that's sort of across the road. And he, like, you both walk to the bar, and he kind of waits expectantly.
Well, I mean, I think really the boat's really quite simple when you think about it. All the pieces fall together. I'm sure you've worked out some of them, but this smuggling thing is more important. I think. So as I said, I know you probably know all about this, but we have a habit of you coming over and telling us that we haven't told you about things. So I wanted to make sure I got it off my chest. But obviously, I've just found out about this smuggling fight. You know, the smugglers' war that's going on.
Right. Yeah.
And
he's got no idea.
Yeah. Well, obviously, because I'm making it up.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm going to go with the angle that last night the smugglers had their boat stolen by other smugglers, and there's the tensions are rising. There's all of this talk about smuggling of guns. I'm not entirely sure what for, but I'm sure you've heard rumblings about that already.
Yeah, probably a gang war, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I had a talk, we've been talking to a lot of those sailors from that boat that crashed in the docks, and from all sounds of it, that was a smuggling hit. I think they call it.
His eyes kind of light up, and he goes, "Yeah, of course, yeah."
Oh, see, I knew you already knew this. I knew you were on top of it, but I didn't want to be accused of, we're simpatico. We keep, we keep each other abreast of these things. But you haven't. Right, I mean, I haven't missed anything on that. On my aunt's ship, have I? We've been very sad about her loss, and maybe we've missed something stupid, something staring us in the face.
No, I mean, I've got a young lad looking at the weather.
The weather.
Yeah, and if that might have had any effect on anything, but no, that's it really. Sorry, your aunt's dead.
Well, I can't say that I spent much time with her.
Me either.
She was a distant aunt, but in her own way, maybe she taught me a few things about life, about how to hold yourself when assailed on all sides. Anyway.
Was that a boat joke?
No. Muslims are genuinely shocked by this. No, it wasn't a boat joke.
Right.
The steamboats. No. I'm gonna just I can make is there a role I can make to try and pump Bradley for clues about like things that might tangentially relate to one of the topics we're on: werewolves, boats.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It would be one of the manipulation or inspiration, I guess, and I suppose it's inspiration for you again, isn't it? With
my journalist
talent, thing. Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting the deceiver talent or whatever it's called, which is for 2 extra dice when lying, because I find myself often doing it. So, but I'm not committing to it yet. Right, I got 2 successes. So I just weather is something. If I could get more information about this weather, that would be good. Whether he thinks there things weird about that or anything else,
Yeah, so you kind of chat a bit, and he says, "Yeah, so they reckon there might have been some kind of like freak storm or something. So they're looking areas that are off course from where the vessel should have been, I think. But no idea on direction. North or south or east or west, I suppose, or somewhere in between. Probably not. Probably not east, because then they'd have gone backwards. But the other 3 would probably be fair game, and probably actually not east, because then they'd have got here.
West.
Yeah. So north or south, I suppose.
Probably, but they're very reasonable guesses. Yeah. Well, freak storm. I hadn't heard that. Has it hit the papers yet?
Tomorrow, my friend. Tomorrow. Don't go telling anybody, because I think that we're the only ones with that information.
Fantastic. And how is the climbing the slippery pole of the newspaper going? Are you gonna be head journo sometime soon?
Well, you can never tell with these things, but I've got some plots that are simmering away.
Awkward silence. Drinks pints.
Right, well, Mr. Muzzling Forcemark, I think I've got to go home.
Right. Well, I'll be off then.
Puts his hat on and
Yeah,
heads out.
sure. I'm gonna go check on check his office to see if Ben's in.
Ben is not in.
Cool.
No,
I'm gonna
he's
check
gone.
through Ben's shit to see if he's got any drawings of fucking werewolves.
Why are you the least reputable member of our entire group by such a
What
large
do you
margin?
want
And
to
everyone
talk
always
about?
blames me.
There's
Um,
something there about privilege as a mask for getting away with things, but that would be too much social commentary.
So
You're
The more
embodying the whole
unnecessary it is
problem.
to lie,
I think
Galen
the
is
more
embodying
likely
the whole
it is.
problem that's frustrated Huck this session.
So Ben is diligent and has a clear desk policy.
sure.
So there's nothing on his desk. He does have drawers in the desk, but it's locked. So it's up to you if you want to try and do anything with that. But that's the current state of play.
What would be the test to open said lock?
It would
try
be,
and
I
do something?
think it's agility for like, is that
Right.
right? For
I can believe it.
Let me just check that.
I have 2 in agility and 2 in physique. So with my 4 dice, I'm guaranteed 3 successes.
Oh, but precision is fine motor skills.
Lockpicks
But then,
say that they give
Is it
advantage
stealth?
on stealth. Yeah.
okay, a
I can
stealth
live with-
precision
I can live
roll.
with stealth. That's 5 dice. That reduces my chance of success, but I did get 1 success.
Okay.
I could like with maybe a letter opener on his desk and try and
Yeah.
Jimmy
Okay.
Lock.
So yeah, there are 2 lots of drawers. You managed to get 1 open.
Mhm.
And you find the same pad that he had previously had on the desk.
Mhm.
And he's kind of got like notes from a day, and then maybe there's some doodles on the other side, which might be, so you can kind of track the movement of this stuff because you've got the day and then the doodles and the day and the doodles.
That's exactly my personal notebook. So
yeah. And you note that so there's a couple of nights or days after nights that are notable to you that he is sort of drawing darker things, which are around the recent full moon. And then it kind of, ebbs off backwards and then kind of builds up again if you go back. So you think you may have spotted a pattern.
Well, I mean, Mosling will spot the pattern whether it's there or not. That's the important thing.
And
confirming is already established held belief that Ben is a werewolf.
Because you rolled a pass on the stealth, I would say that you hear somebody coming down the stairs behind you. If you want to put this away and...
Yeah, I'll shut it all up and just if the person arrives, I'll ask them where if Ben has head home or if he's still around.
No, he's gone for the day.
Right, well.
Shall I tell him you were calling after him?
Yes, I mean I found myself. You probably heard of me, Mosling Forsmark. You might have seen my picture in the paper a few I think a week or so ago. Was a picture, that the boat crash. Obviously,
the blurry one. Yes.
Well, it is a craft, but if I was just coming to ask if Ben needed any more pictures, he's welcome to contact me. He knows where I am, but you can pass that on.
Yes, of course. Yes, very nice to meet you.
Yes, and I just walk by. I just walk out.
Cool. That is all of those things resolved, isn't it? So Mosling returns back to the house, and are you sort of sharing your bits of
No.
info?
I'll share the information about that Bradley thinks it's the weather, but I'm going to pursue my personal vendetta against Ben on my own. Because these people can't be trusted. They like Ben too much. It's one of their main weaknesses. That's what I got written on my notepad again and again and again and again.
I've only met Ben once.
And you like him already?
I don't think I've
Ridiculous.
ever met Ben. Do you share the freak storm thing or just the weather? Because I guess that's kind of different.
Yeah, I'll talk about the freak storm, and that's what's going. I'll also talk about the smuggler war, which I invented. You know,
Do you talk about it as if it's true?
no.
Okay.
Well, here's hoping Bradley decides to go on the docks and ask about smugglers and
Hopefully, yeah. Or maybe he finds a boat for us. He's, or sends, we could, if we see that the boat has been found in some part of London in tomorrow's papers, then maybe that saves us having to go out for a walk ourselves.
This freak storm, do we want to, for total paranoia's sake,
Read
check
about
the books
that?
if
Yeah, I
there's
think so.
anything Vaesen related for that? Or is it too much?
No, I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Are you all going to the library to...
Do Henry and Constance share what they've learnt about werewolves?
Oh, yes. Yes.
B, who is in like 3 drinks in that Hux has probably been pouring, sort of wedges herself back in her cushions and goes, "It's not true. But it's not true."
I'm sorry?
The thing about the name, right? Because if all it takes is someone who knows their name to say the name, then why would they be a werewolf? Unless they tell everyone a fake name.
I did wonder that myself. I was wondering whether there was some sort of conditionality to the usage of the name that...
There may be something more ritualistic to it, I suppose, but if you see Mr. Bonneville, when you got attacked by this large creature, did you immediately think to yourself, this must be a person, and I think I know who they are? Or did you think I've been attacked by some dangerous animal?
Well,
How many people live to tell the tale? And how many people know that an acquaintance of theirs is a werewolf? If it happened to any of you, would you go around telling people? Maybe if you thought we could help, but I think this is quite a unique situation. Surely the majority. I mean, is it possible that the person that this thing was talked about as a curse? It's possible the person doesn't even know.
What if they do, though? What
If they do,
and they told someone they loved? That's what you do, right? If something was wrong.
yes. Having said that, I'm trying to think of the last time that I referred to any of you with your full given names. And frankly, there are many people who don't go by their real names.
I didn't even know Shorty's name when they came to the door, or at least I didn't remember it.
Excellent example. We had to investigate this Rachel woman to try and understand if we even thought that was her real name. It seems like it was, but that was certainly a line of inquiry we pursued. To try and had to validate that. I don't think it is necessarily obvious that. Also, if somebody, I'm trying to think, if somebody you loved suddenly, told you they were a werewolf, would you stick around while they were in a dangerous position, or would you try to distance yourself from somebody you loved so you didn't hurt them? They may not be in a position to call you by name and these sorts of things, and people are frightened. I don't think it's that unusual.
B, looks at the bottom of her drink and sinks lower into her cushions and says nothing.
I will pour you another drink.
B, is there something? You seem to be troubled. Is there something deeper at play here?
I think I've had too much to drink. I think I need to go to bed. Wake me up in the morning. I just get up and leave.
I'll do that good old face after B's gone.
How certain are we that B. Hale is her full name, just in case?
Oh, come on, Constance.
Perhaps she's weighing up whether she wants to tell us something.
You can't pretend we don't all have something in life we don't want to share. That does not exactly the same as suspecting we have to find out their real name now, is it?
I think I'd like to have darted out of the room after B had gone and just say, like, when some distance has when I'm some distance away from the room we're in, just look, if you want to talk, just let me know.
I don't.
Sure.
If I had anything I thought would be useful, Henry, you know I'd tell you. But I don't.
Sure. Well, I hope you sleep well.
Thanks.
And I'll go back to the room.
Okay, are you guys wanting to look in the library for stormy stuff?
Yep.
Okay. Do you all want to make me learning rolls?
Can I support someone? I can never do a learning roll, but I feel like I want to support somehow. Holding the book open or something.
Yeah, I feel like you could probably collect some books that you think might look like they might be useful.
I have an adorable image of Hux never reading and refusing to ever learn to read, but kind of
That's
enjoying
fine.
being in the library and aiding nonetheless.
I rolled
I'm going
10
to give my
dice.
assist to Bonneville.
I rolled 10 dice and got 1 success, and then I pushed 9 dice and got another success. So 2 successes out of 19 dice.
I got 1 success from 10 dice. So what condition have you taken?
Yeah, for the library.
It's hopeless. It's all hopeless.
I'm thinking about whether I want to push, because I got no successes on my 6 dice.
We're really determined to
No, I'm
library.
going to leave it.
I did get 2 successes, so you know.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it before you said that, but I don't know. I did well enough on the werewolf. There's only so much you can read.
Constance's eyes glazing over in the library this evening, just like
I've hit a wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Between you, you find a few sort of water-based creatures. The main one that comes up when it comes to sort of summoning storms is a mermaid. If that's what's happened.
the mermaid was the same thing that old captain said saved him, right?
Yes, but
I
that could
think
have been
Hux
a
was saying-
dolphin. Or
Well, it's safe
his
to say
imagination.
it's safe to say a dolphin didn't make a storm. If we are looking fastened for this.
I wonder whether dolphins live on islands, and if so, where? I wonder if there are any islands in that area. That will have to be a question for tomorrow. Oh, I'm feeling very tired now. And it's getting late, and if I'm not going to get eaten by this werewolf, I need to be making tracks soon.
Still not sleeping here then?
She let it. She dressed it and paraded around the house, and then paraded around the streets.
Sorry,
That thing-
what?
That thing has got her wrapped around its little finger, and I don't believe for 1 second that anyone would be able to stop it if it decided to eat me.
Well, surely that means she's in far more danger than you are, though.
Well, I've no interest in joining her in that situation.
Well, yeah, but my point is, she's a canary for you.
It doesn't just because you have the canary doesn't mean you just go in with it.
Fair enough.
Anyway, closing heavy book. Mermaids summon storms. There you go. And then with that, I'll start heading off out the room and downstairs.
Cool. Everyone else going to bed?
I'll pack my things to head off in the morning and then head to bed.
Cool.
Yeah.
In that case, we'll leave it there for this week. Thank you, everybody. So thanks everybody that has been watching the stream, and I'll do promo stuff. Links below the video to all our things. Please come join our Discord and chat with us, and that's also the best place to keep up to date with when things are happening and what's happening. This Wednesday, no Simba Room. This Thursday, episode 2 of 3 of The Big Wet. And then the final episode should be the week after. It may spill into the week after that. But whenever that finishes, Cincinnati Chronicles final arc is on Thursdays. Simba Room is back on in 2 weeks. We are off next week. We should be back the week after. Join the Discord. Everything will become clear. Let's do experience questions before I forget as well also.
It's almost like our deliberate advert for our Discord is having a slightly convoluted and confusing schedule and just being like, we're going to confuse you now. Come join the Discord.
Don't pull attention to
Yeah,
it.
don't tell them, Sam. Okay, did you participate in the session? Yes, 1. Did you confront any Vaesen? No. Did you identify a previously unknown Vaesen? I'm going to say no. Were you affected by your dark secret? Not massively.
Looking at
Looking
at B.
Some people can judge for themselves and add that on if they want to. Did you take risks to protect other people? I don't think anybody did this time.
Don't think
Have
so.
you learned
Hux
anything?
talk to the cops.
Yeah, I don't think
You've learned a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Did you develop something in headquarters? No. Did you follow an extraordinary action? No. So 2.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Are there any thanks, John, for follows and such things and stuff and that?
Oh, that would be a thing that I would have brought up beforehand if I were organised.
Well,
Thank you for reminding me.
While you're bringing that up, I was just going to ask other folks, are you in like the 4s now for your skill points, just out of curiosity, or leveling, or are people leveling more evenly? I'm just wondering.
I've got a few 4s.
I've got a 4 and a 5.
Oh, 5. What's your
5?
5?
Everything else is like
Look at
1s and
you.
2s, so I'm going very.
What's your 5?
My 5 is investigation, but my 4 is ranged combat. So
Nice.
It's pretty good.
I'm a very even person who's got 2s and 3s and everything.
Wow.
Got 1 4 and 1 3, and the rest is 0s, 1s, or 2s.
Wow. Interesting.
are you going for a lot of talents?
I do have I have racked up a few talents, yeah. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 6 talents at the moment.
I see.
And we decided you can go over 5, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, the book does say you can.
So I'm thinking about
But I
getting
just hit 5
deceptive,
again. So yeah. One of my talents gives me 4 for the learning roles if I got the bookworm one, which is +2 for learning from books in the library. So my 2 there becomes a 4 often. Yeah.
For all the good it does us.
Well, we finally had some good learning roles today. That was useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you for the follows to Docrimbo, The Only Thing Left, and I can't remember whether Tanuki got thanked during the big wet, but in case you didn't, thank you to you too. Twice, thank you if you did, I guess.
Ace. Cool. Yeah, so we are not on next week, but we should be back on the 31st, sadly without Inga for the day. But I think everything else is okay, so we should be back.
So does that mean we probably won't go to the chapel?
Yeah, that's kind of true. That would be a bad episode if we're going to the chapel. Let's see
We
what's
could
going
we could
sort
turn
it
them
out.
early and
Voice
rob
en
the
route.
place.
We'll
Mhm.
sort it out.
Sort it out. Gotta be
Cool.
really weird if there was. Anyway, never mind. Let's go.
Yeah. Ace, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Bye bye.